Princess Zara Kavek stood at the large window of her room on the spaceship called Celestial Dominion. Her 7 fingers shook as she held a glowing message. The royal mark of her mother, High Empress Lyria, showed the message was real. Zara read it again, not believing what it said. She had to marry a human. A human. The very beings that had somehow beaten the Novalian armada in the big space battle near Proxima Centauri. "This is crazy," Zara said in a low voice. Her skin, which could change colors with her mood, flashed angry red and gold patterns. Her helper, Mira, stayed back as small sparks of energy came off the princess's slim body. The human she was supposed to marry was Lieutenant Abigail Foster. This human had figured out how Novalian ships fought in battle and made a plan that saved Earth's faraway colonies. Abigail was smart, yes, but to Zara, she stood for everything wrong with humans. They were unpredictable, too emotional, and they somehow won when all logic said they should lose. The peace agreement needs a marriage to show our peoples are now friends, Mira reminded her softly. Your mother thinks this is the best way forward. Zara's 4 eyes all narrowed at once. Then I will talk to her face to face, get my small ship ready. On her way to the shuttle bay, Zara passed many Novalian crew members. They all bowed their heads as she walked by, their skin showing patterns of respect. But she could sense their confusion too. News of the marriage plan had spread fast. Commander Vex, no relation to the royal family despite the similar name, stood by Zara's shuttle. His military uniform showed many battle honors. "Princess, is it wise to visit the Empress without guards?" he asked. "This is family business," Zara replied coldly, "and I don't need protection from my own mother." "It's not the Empress I worry about," Vex said, looking around. "There are those who don't want peace with humans. They might see you as—" He paused, taking the wrong side. Zara stepped closer to the commander. Despite being shorter, she made him step back with just her royal presence. "Are you one of those people, Commander?" "I serve the Empire," he said carefully. "But I lost family in the human war." "As did I," Zara reminded him. Her brother had died in the first battle with humans. But endless war helps no one. That doesn't mean I want to marry one of them. Inside her shuttle, Zara sat in the pilot's seat. Unlike many royals, she preferred to fly herself when possible. As the ship's engine started up, she thought about what little she knew of Lieutenant Abigail Foster. The human was a tactical officer, around 30 Earth years old. Her clever battle plans had cost thousands of Novalian lives. In the pictures, Zara had seen Abigail look serious with short brown hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. Not ugly for a human, but so plain. Just 2 eyes. Skin that couldn't change color. Only 5 fingers. How primitive. The shuttle left the big ship and moved toward the royal vessel where her mother stayed. Zara practiced what she would say. She needed to be calm, logical. The High Empress respected reason, not emotion. Halfway to her mother's ship, Zara's communication screen lit up. It was Mira, looking worried. "Princess, you need to change course," Mira said quickly. "Why? What's happening?" "The Empress has gone to the human diplomatic station. She's meeting with Earth leaders right now about the marriage agreement." Zara felt her skin turn pale blue with shock. "She's already there without telling me?" "The meeting was moved up. You should join them. It would look bad if you weren't there for such an important talk." Zara didn't answer. She changed the shuttle's direction, now heading for the human station. Her mother had planned this well. By not telling Zara about the change, she made sure her daughter would have no time to prepare arguments against the marriage. The human diplomatic station looked like a big wheel in space, not as beautiful as Novalian ships, which looked like sea creatures made of crystal and metal, but impressive for humans. As Zara's shuttle approached, she got another call. This time it was her mother. "Daughter," the High Empress said. Her face showed no emotion, but her skin had patterns of authority and determination. "I see you're joining us. Good." "Mother, this marriage makes no sense," Zara said, trying to keep her voice steady. "There are many other ways to show peace with humans." The human you will marry is the one they call the decoder. She broke our battle formations. She understands how we think. This makes her valuable. Then let her be an ambassador or advisor, not my wife. The Empress's skin flashed a pattern that meant the conversation was over. Land your shuttle. Meet us in the main hall. And Zara, her voice grew stern, remember you are royal. Control your emotions in front of the humans. The screen went dark. Zara hit the control panel with her fist, leaving a small dent. She took deep breaths, making her skin return to its normal pearly white with subtle blue patterns. She was a princess of the mighty Novalian Empire. She would face this with dignity. As her shuttle docked at the human station, Zara put on her ceremonial armor. The gleaming outfit was both beautiful and practical, with technology woven into every piece. It showed her royal status, while also protecting her if needed. Mom, why am I being forced to marry a human? She whispered to herself, using the informal mom she hadn't used since childhood. Then she straightened her back, raised her chin, and prepared to meet her future wife. Lieutenant Abigail Foster stood very straight in Admiral Susan Blake's office on Earth's big space station. She tried to keep her face calm, but inside she felt shocked by what she just heard. You want me to marry an alien princess? She asked, again sure she had heard wrong. Admiral Blake's face stayed serious. She was an older woman with short gray hair and many years of military experience. Lieutenant, the peace deal with the Novalians depends on this marriage. Their culture cares a lot about family lines and royal marriages. High Empress Lyria asked for you specifically. They call you the human tactician. With all respect, Admiral, I'm a soldier, not a diplomat or a bride. Abigail's mind raced with thoughts. The Novalian princess was said to be very smart, dangerous, and really disliked humans. You'll be both now, Blake said, pushing a data pad across her desk. The future of relations between Earth and the Novalians depends on this marriage. If we don't do this, we might have more war and Earth can't survive another attack from them. Abigail slowly took the pad. A message appeared on it. The princess's small ship had unexpectedly left the Novalian main ship and was heading toward the diplomatic sector. She would meet her future wife sooner than expected. How much time do I have to prepare? Abigail asked. Not much. The princess will be here in about an hour. You should change into your formal uniform. Admiral Blake stood up. This isn't just about you, Lieutenant. This is about the survival of our species. Abigail nodded and left the office. In the hallway, she leaned against a wall and took a deep breath. Just 3 years ago, she had been a simple tactical officer, analyzing data and making battle plans. Then she had noticed a pattern in how the Novalian ships moved. It wasn't just random. There was a logic to it, like a complex dance. Once she understood it, she could predict what they would do next. Her plan had saved millions of lives and pushed back the Novalian forces. But it had also killed many aliens, and now she was supposed to marry one of their royals. In her small room on the station, Abigail put on her formal blue uniform with all her medals. She looked at herself in the mirror. Average height, brown hair cut short for military life, serious, brown eyes. Nothing special, nothing that said, worthy of marrying an alien princess. Her personal device beeped. It was her friend Olivia, calling from Earth. Is it true? Olivia asked as soon as Abigail answered. The rumors are all over the news feeds. Are you really marrying the four-eyed alien princess? News travels fast, Abigail said with a sigh. Yes, it's true. Or it will be, I guess. But why you? No offense, Abby, but you're not exactly diplomat material. Because I'm the one who figured out their battle plans. Apparently that made an impression. Abigail checked the time. I have to go, she'll be here soon. Wait, what's she like? Is she pretty? For an alien, I mean. Abigail had seen pictures of Princess Zara. The alien was tall and graceful, with pearly white skin that could change colors like a mood ring. She had 4 eyes, 2 large ones where human eyes would be, and 2 smaller ones above them. Her face was narrow, with high cheekbones and no nose, just small breathing slits. No hair, but a kind of shimmer to her skin that was almost like it. She was alien, completely different from humans, but there was something beautiful about her. "She's different," was all Abigail said. "I'll call you later." As she walked to the diplomatic sector, people stopped to stare at her. Some looked impressed, others pitying. A few even seemed angry. Not everyone was happy about the peace with the Novalians. After all, they had attacked Earth first, destroying several colonies before Abigail's strategy had turned the tide. The diplomatic sector was a large, open area with high ceilings and big windows looking out into space. Earth diplomats in formal clothes stood in small groups talking quietly. Military officers lined the walls. Everyone seemed tense. Admiral Blake met Abigail at the entrance. "The princess's shuttle just docked. Her mother, the Empress, is already here." Abigail looked across the room and saw the High Empress of the Novalian Empire. She was taller than any human, with skin that glowed with complex patterns. Her 4 eyes seemed to take in everything at once. Several Novalian guards stood around her, their bodies enhanced with technology that humans could only dream of. Do I just go introduce myself?" Abigail asked. "Wait for the princess. This needs to be done properly. The Novalians care about ceremony." A door on the far side of the room opened. Everyone fell silent. Princess Zara walked in, her ceremonial armor shining with built-in technology far beyond what humans could make. Behind her, more Novalian guards moved perfectly together, their part-machine bodies making soft humming sounds. Abigail felt her heart beat faster. The princess was even more striking in person than in pictures. Her skin showed flashes of red and gold. Anger, Abigail guessed from the briefing materials she had read about Novalian biology. Admiral Blake put a hand on Abigail's back, gently pushing her forward. "Go on," she whispered. Abigail walked across the now silent room. The princess saw her and started walking too. They met in the middle with everyone watching. Up close, Abigail could see all 4 of the princess's eyes looking at her. The alien was about a foot taller than her. The armor she wore seemed to be alive somehow, shifting slightly with her movements. "So you're the human who thinks she can join the imperial bloodline," Princess Zara said. Her voice had a musical quality, but also sounded threatening. Abigail made herself stand tall and looked directly at all 4 of the princess's eyes. "And you're the princess who needs a human to save her empire from falling apart." The tension between them was strong, and neither woman backed down. But underneath their hostility, there was also curiosity. Zara seemed interested by the human's bravery, and Abigail was fascinated by the alien's otherworldly grace. Their face-off was interrupted by loud alarms. On the big screen overlooking the room, a fleet of unknown ships appeared at the edge of the solar system. They weren't Novalian or human. "The Voidborn," Princess Zara whispered, her skin turning a ghostly blue color. "They've found us." The High Empress stepped forward, her guards moving with her. "Defensive positions," she ordered in her own language, which was translated by a device she wore. Admiral Blake was already on her communicator, calling Earth's defense forces. "All ships to battle stations. Unknown fleet approaching." Abigail looked at the screen, studying the new ships. They were black, with strange shapes that hurt the eyes if you looked at them too long. They moved in ways that didn't seem to follow normal physics. "What are they?" she asked the princess. Zara's face showed real fear for the first time. "The enemy of all life. The reason my people built our empire, our weapons. The reason we eventually found your world. They've been hunting us for thousands of years." As the alarms continued to blare, humans and Novalians alike rushed to prepare for battle. In the chaos, Abigail realized something important. This marriage wasn't just about peace between their 2 species anymore. There was a bigger threat out there, and facing it might require all of them working together. Chaos filled the diplomatic room as both humans and Novalians rushed to respond to the threat. The big screen showed the black ships of the Voidborn moving closer, their strange shapes seeming to bend and shift in ways that didn't make sense. "We need to get to the command center," Admiral Blake shouted over the noise. She pointed at Abigail and Princess Zara. "Both of you, come with me." The High Empress Lyria spoke quickly to her daughter in their own language. Zara nodded, her face serious. Then the Empress turned to Admiral Blake. "I will return to my flagship. To lead our forces," she said. "My daughter will stay here to coordinate with your people." Before anyone could argue, the Empress and her guards were moving toward their shuttle. Abigail noticed that Princess Zara watched her mother go with a mix of emotions on her face: worry, respect, and something like hurt. Admiral Blake led Abigail and Zara through busy hallways. Everywhere, station staff ran to their emergency positions. Red warning lights flashed along the walls. Over the speakers, a calm voice repeated, "This is not a drill. All civilians to shelter areas. All military personnel to battle stations." The command center was a large room with many screens and control panels. People worked quickly at different stations, their faces tense. Through the big window at the front, they could see Earth in the distance, beautiful and blue. "Status report," Blake demanded as she entered. A young officer looked up from her screen. "The unknown fleet is moving into the system at high speed. Admiral, they'll reach our outer defense line in 20 minutes. We have 14 ships ready to intercept, with 6 more preparing to launch." "Not enough," Princess Zara said. Her skin had patterns that shifted between blue fear and red determination. "The Voidborn fleet has at least 30 ships that we can see." "Our ships are on the way," Blake said. "But they're spread throughout the system. It will take time to gather them." "Time we don't have," Zara replied. She stepped forward to a communication panel. "I need to contact the Celestial Dominion." Blake nodded to an officer who opened the channel. The screen showed a Novalian commander. "Princess," he said, bowing his head. "The High Empress has returned and is preparing our fleet. Commander Vex, we need all ships with jump capability to move to these coordinates now." Zara quickly entered numbers into the system. "We must form a defense line with the humans." The commander hesitated. "Princess, some captains are questioning the wisdom of fighting alongside humans." Zara's skin flashed angry patterns. "The Voidborn don't care if they're eating humans or Novalians, Commander. They'll consume us all the same. Any captain who refuses my order will answer to me personally, if we survive." The commander bowed again. "Yes, Princess." As the screen went dark, Abigail studied the tactical display. The Voidborn ships were moving in a pattern she didn't recognize. It wasn't like anything she had seen before. "I need all the information you have on how these Voidborn fight," she said to Zara. The princess looked at her with all 4 eyes. "They don't fight like us. They don't think like us. They're outside." "Outside what?" "Reality, as we understand it. They exist partly in another dimension. That's why their ships move strangely. They don't completely follow our physics." Abigail frowned, thinking hard. "But they're here, in our space, so they must follow some of our rules." "Yes," Zara admitted. "They can be hurt, they can be killed. But it's difficult. Show me previous battles. Show me how your people have fought them before." Zara used the computer to bring up recordings of past fights with the Voidborn. Abigail watched carefully, noting how the black ships moved, how they attacked, how they responded when hit. There was a pattern there, but it was complex, alien. Still, her mind started to see connections, possibilities. "They always attack in groups of 3, she said after a while. "See? Never alone, never in pairs. Always 3 ships moving together." Zara leaned closer to the screen. "You're right. I never noticed that before. And when one group is attacked, the nearest other group always comes to help. They're connected somehow." "Some kind of hive mind, maybe," Zara suggested. "Or quantum entanglement." Abigail turned to Admiral Blake. "We need to change our strategy. If we attack one group, we'll have to deal with at least one more group coming to help them. We should set traps." Blake nodded. "What do you suggest, Lieutenant?" "Split our forces. Have some ships attack a group of Voidborn, then immediately retreat. When the second group comes to help, our hidden ships attack from behind. Divide and conquer," Blake said. "It could work." "It will only work once or twice," Zara warned. "The Voidborn learn quickly." Once or twice might be enough to even the odds, Abigail replied. The next hour was busy as they planned the defense. Human and Novalian ships moved into position, forming a line between Earth and the approaching enemy. Abigail and Zara worked side by side, sometimes arguing, sometimes agreeing, but always focused on the coming battle. Your weapons are stronger, Abigail said, looking at the specs of the Novalian ships. But our shields can absorb more damage. We should put your ships behind ours. No, Zara shook her head. My people won't accept being in the rear. We have fought the Voidborn for generations. We must be in the front line. This isn't about pride, Princess. It's about using our strengths properly. It's about my people trusting this alliance, Zara insisted. If they think we're being used as shields for Earth, they will break away and fight alone. Abigail wanted to argue more, but she saw the determination in all four of Zara's eyes. Fine. Mixed formation then. Novalian and human ships paired together. As the Voidborn fleet got closer, Abigail felt a strange calm come over her. This was what she was trained for. This was what she was good at. Looking at problems, finding solutions. You're not afraid, Zara said, watching her. I'm terrified, Abigail admitted. But fear doesn't help right now. You're unusual for a human. Most of your kind let emotions cloud their thinking. And you're unusual for a Novalian. I thought your people were all about cold logic. Zara's skin showed a brief pattern of what might have been amusement. Not all of us. A loud beep from the tactical display interrupted them. The Voidborn had reached the outer edge of their sensor range. The battle was about to begin. All ships, report ready, an officer called out. Admiral Blake looked at Abigail. This is your plan, Lieutenant. Give the order. Abigail took a deep breath. First attack group, move forward. Target the lead Voidborn group with all weapons. Second attack group, stand by to ambush the responders. On the big screen, they watched as 5 ships, 3 human, 2 Novalian, moved toward the enemy fleet. The Voidborn ships didn't change course at first, as if they didn't see the approaching danger. Then suddenly, all their ships changed direction at once, moving to surround the attack group. They're trying to cut them off, Zara said, her voice tense. Hold course, Abigail ordered. Keep moving forward. The attack group got within firing range and launched their weapons. Bright beams of energy and missiles streaked across space toward the Voidborn ships. Some hit, causing black smoke-like material to leak from the strange vessels. But the Voidborn kept coming. Attack group, retreat now, Abigail ordered. Full speed back to our lines. The 5 ships turned and raced away from the enemy. As predicted, the Voidborn followed, 3 of their ships breaking away from the main fleet to chase the retreating attack group. Ambush group now, Abigail called. 7 more ships that had been hiding behind a small moon suddenly appeared, catching the 3 Voidborn vessels between them and the retreating attack group. Caught in the crossfire, the black ships took heavy damage. One exploded, in a strange implosion that seemed to bend the space around it. It's working, Admiral Blake said, a note of hope in her voice. But then something unexpected happened. All the remaining Voidborn ships stopped moving. They just sat in space as if waiting. What are they doing? Blake asked. Zara's skin had turned pale blue. Something bad, they're planning something. A new alarm sounded. An officer looked up from her station, her face showing shock. Energy readings off the charts. They're all powering up some kind of weapon. Evasive maneuvers, Blake shouted into the communication system. All ships break formation. Too late. The Voidborn ships released a wave of dark energy that spread out like ripples in a pond. When it hit the human and Novalian ships, systems failed and engines died. Ships drifted helplessly in space. They've never done that before, Zara whispered. It's a new weapon. The command center fell silent as they watched the defenseless ships. The Voidborn vessels started moving again, approaching their disabled prey. We need a new plan, Abigail said, forcing herself to think. Fast. The command center buzzed with urgent voices as everyone tried to understand what had just happened. The screens showed their ships floating dead in space, while the Voidborn vessels moved closer and closer. All ships report total power failure, an officer called out. Life support systems running on emergency backup only. The Celestial Dominion? Zara asked, her voice tight with worry. No response, Princess. Your mother's flagship was hit directly by the energy wave. Abigail watched, the tactical display, her mind racing. There had to be a solution, a way out of this. What about our ships that weren't in range? The ones still coming from other parts of the system? 6 human vessels and 4 Novalian ships are still operational, the officer reported. But they're at least 30 minutes away. Too long, Admiral Blake said grimly. The Voidborn will reach our disabled fleet in less than 10 minutes. Zara suddenly turned to Abigail. Your personal ship, the one they call Intrepid. Where is it? Docked at the station. Why? It's small enough that it might not have been a target for the energy wave, and my shuttle is also here. Zara's skin showed patterns of rapid thinking. Both our ships have special shielding. Mine has Novalian royal technology, and yours was upgraded after I broke your battle codes, Abigail finished. They added experimental shielding based on what we learned from your ships we captured. We might be able to combine our technologies, Zara said. Create a counterwave that could restore power to the fleet. Admiral Blake looked skeptical. Is that even possible? Theoretically, Zara replied. The Voidborn energy wave works by disrupting the connection between matter and energy in our technology. If we can realign that connection, we could jump-start. The ships? Abigail said, catching on quickly. Like using cables to start a car with a dead battery. Zara looked confused at the reference but nodded anyway. Yes, but we would need to get close to the fleet. Very close. And the Voidborn would try to stop us, Abigail added. It's suicide, Blake said. It's our only chance, Zara countered. If the Voidborn destroy our fleet, Earth is next. And after Earth, they'll keep hunting my people until we're all gone. Abigail made a quick decision. I'll take the Intrepid. We can modify it with parts from your shuttle. No, Zara shook her head. I'm coming with you. My ship has technology you don't understand. I need to be there to make it work. Their eyes met, human and alien, and for a moment, there was a perfect understanding between them. They were very different from worlds apart, but right now they wanted the same thing, to save their people. Fine, Abigail said. We go together. They raced through the station to the docking bay. Engineers and technicians were called to help them modify the Intrepid with parts from Zara's royal shuttle. It was quick, messy work. The elegant Novalian technology looked strange attached to the more practical human ship. Will this actually work? Abigail asked as they prepared to leave. Maybe, Zara admitted. The theory is sound, but no one has ever tried to counter a Voidborn energy wave before. Great, so we're making this up as we go. Isn't that what humans are good at? There was almost a touch of humor in Zara's voice. The Intrepid was a small, fast ship designed for tactical missions. It had room for a crew of 6, but today it was just the 2 of them. Abigail took the pilot's seat while Zara sat at what would normally be the weapons station, now reconfigured to control their makeshift energy device. Station control, this is Lieutenant Foster on the Intrepid. We're ready for departure. Understood. Intrepid, came the reply. Outer doors opening now, good luck. As the ship left the safety of the station, they could see the situation clearly. The disabled fleet drifted helplessly while the Voidborn ships approached like black predators. In the distance, Earth shone blue and innocent, unaware of the danger. Need to stay out of the Voidborn sensor range for as long as possible, Abigail said, piloting the ship in a wide arc. If they detect us too soon, they'll use that energy wave on us too. Agreed. My people have found that the Voidborn have trouble detecting ships that move in irregular patterns. Don't fly straight. Abigail nodded and began to make the ship zigzag and spiral on its way toward the fleet. It took longer but kept them hidden for now. As they got closer to the disabled ships, they could see more details. Some vessels showed damage from the energy wave, strange black marks that seemed to eat into the metal. There's the Celestial Dominion, Zara said, pointing to the largest Novalian ship. Its crystal-like structure was now dark and lifeless. My mother is on board. We'll try to reach it first, Abigail promised. They were almost to the fleet when alarms went off in the Intrepid's cockpit. 3 Voidborn ships had broken away from the main group and were heading straight for them. "They've seen us," Abigail said, pushing the ship to full speed. "Hold on!" The Intrepid shot forward, racing toward the Celestial Dominion. Behind them, the Voidborn ships followed, gaining quickly. Their strange shapes seemed to shift and twist as they moved, making it hard to judge their exact position. "They're charging weapons," Zara warned, looking at the sensors. Abigail rolled the ship to the right just as a beam of dark energy passed by them. It missed by inches, but they felt the ship shudder anyway, as if the near miss had somehow affected it. "How close do we need to get to the Dominion?" Abigail asked, making the ship dance through space to avoid more attacks. "Ideally, we should dock," Zara replied, "but just getting within 100 meters might be enough." Another blast from the Voidborn rocked the ship. Warning lights flashed on the control panel. "Shield strength down to 60%, Abigail reported. "We won't survive many more hits like that." They were now among the disabled fleet. Abigail weaved the Intrepid between larger vessels, using them as cover. The Voidborn followed but had to slow down to navigate the maze of drifting ships. "There," Zara pointed, "the Dominion's main docking port." Abigail aimed the Intrepid toward it, slowing just enough to avoid crashing. "I can't dock properly while evading their attacks. We'll have to get close and hope it's enough." "It will have to be," Zara said. Her hands moved over the controls of their makeshift device. "Charging the counterwave now. It will take about 30 seconds. Those 30 seconds felt like forever. Abigail kept the ship moving in tight circles around the Dominion's docking area, making them a difficult target. The Voidborn ships stayed just outside the cluster of disabled vessels, firing whenever they had a clear shot. "Almost there," Zara said. Her skin was glowing with patterns of intense concentration. 20 more seconds. A blast from the Voidborn hit them directly. The Intrepid spun out of control for a moment before Abigail could steady it. "Shields at 30%, she called out. "We can't take another hit like that." 10 seconds, Zara replied, her voice steady despite the danger. The Voidborn ships were moving in closer now, as if they understood what the small human vessel was trying to do. They fired again, but Abigail managed to dodge behind a piece of debris from an earlier part of the battle. 5 seconds, Zara counted down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing counterwave. Zara pressed her 7-fingered hands down on the control panel. The device they had built hummed loudly, and the lights in the Intrepid dimmed as it drew power from the ship. Then a pulse of golden energy burst out from them in all directions, washing over the dead fleet. For a long moment, nothing happened. Abigail held her breath, watching the Voidborn ships getting closer. Then, one by one, lights began to appear on the disabled vessels. Systems were coming back online. "It's working," Abigail exclaimed. The Celestial Dominion was the first to fully recover. Its crystal structure lit up with internal lights, and its engines glowed as they restarted. Throughout the fleet, more and more ships came back to life, but their success had a price. The Intrepid had used most of its power to create the counterwave. Now it drifted, almost as helpless as the fleet had been moments before. "We need to dock with the Dominion," Zara said urgently. "Our shields won't hold against another attack." Abigail tried to pilot the sluggish ship toward the docking port, but the controls barely responded. They were still about 50 meters away when the sensors showed all 3 Voidborn ships lining up for a concentrated attack. "We're not going to make it," Abigail said, still trying to coax more speed from the dying engines. Zara looked at her with all 4 eyes, and for the first time, Abigail saw respect there, maybe even admiration. It was an honor fighting beside you, Lieutenant Foster. Likewise, Princess. The Voidborn fired together 3 beams of dark energy heading straight for the Intrepid. Abigail closed her eyes, waiting for the end, but the hit never came. A bright shield of energy suddenly appeared around their ship, absorbing the attack. Abigail opened her eyes to see the Celestial Dominion extending its advanced defensive field to protect them. "My mother," Zara said, relief clear in her voice and the patterns on her skin. A tractor beam from the Dominion caught the Intrepid, pulling it safely into a docking bay just as the newly revived fleet opened fire on the Voidborn ships. The three alien vessels retreated, rejoining their main fleet, which was now facing a fully operational defensive line. Inside the Celestial Dominion, Abigail felt strange. She had never been on a Novalian ship before. Everything was different. The lighting had a soft blue glow, the walls seemed alive somehow, and the air smelled like nothing she had experienced before, something like flowers and electricity mixed together. Novalian crew members stared at her as Zara led her through the corridors. Some looked curious, others hostile. All of them bowed respectfully to their princess, their skin showing patterns that Abigail couldn't read. "They're wondering why I brought a human onto the royal flagship," Zara explained quietly. "Are we in danger?" Abigail asked, noticing how some of the Novalians kept their hands near their weapons. "No, they won't defy me openly. And once they hear what we did, most will accept your presence." They reached the bridge of the ship, a large room with crystal control panels and a huge window looking out at space. The ceiling was so high that Abigail had to tilt her head back to see it. In the center of the room stood High Empress Lyria, taller and more imposing than her daughter, her skin showing complex patterns of authority and command. "Mother," Zara said, bowing slightly, "Lieutenant Foster and I have returned." The Empress turned all four of her eyes to study them. "So I see. You have done well, both of you. The fleet is restored, and the Voidborn attack has been pushed back, at least for now." Abigail wasn't sure if she should bow or salute, so she did a little of both. "Thank you, Your Highness. Your ship's technology was critical to our success," Zara told her mother. "Without the Novalian components, we couldn't have created the counterwave. And without Lieutenant Foster's flying skills, we wouldn't have reached the fleet in time," Zara added, surprising Abigail with the praise. The Empress nodded slowly. "It seems you work well together." On the main screen they could see the battle continuing. The restored fleet had formed a strong defensive line, and the Voidborn were being pushed back. But the fight was far from over. "What's our status?" Zara asked a Novalian officer. "3 of our ships were too damaged to restore fully, Princess. The rest are at approximately 70% capacity. The human vessels are in similar condition. The Voidborn have lost 7 ships, but still outnumber us. We need to coordinate our attacks better," Abigail said, then quickly added, "If I may suggest, Your Highness." The Empress gestured for her to continue. Abigail stepped forward to the tactical display, a 3-dimensional map of the battle floating in mid-air. "The Voidborn attack in groups of 3 and they support each other. But when we destroyed one of their ships earlier, it seemed to confuse the others in its group for a short time. I think they're connected somehow, perhaps a shared consciousness." "We've suspected as much for generations," the Empress said, "but we've never found a way to use that against them effectively. If we target one ship in each group simultaneously," Abigail suggested, "we might be able to create enough confusion to break their formation completely." Zara caught on immediately. "A synchronized attack on multiple targets. It could work." The Empress considered this, then nodded. "Prepare the fleet. We will try Lieutenant Foster's strategy." As the Novalian officers hurried to coordinate with the human ships, Abigail felt a strange sense of belonging. Here she was, on an alien vessel, helping to plan a battle against a common enemy. Just days ago, these same Novalians had been the enemy. Now they were allies. The plan was put into action. The combined fleet separated into smaller attack groups, each targeting one ship in a Voidborn triad. They would attack simultaneously, hoping to create maximum confusion. "All ships report." "Ready," a Novalian officer announced. "Begin the attack," the Empress ordered. On the screen they watched as their ships moved forward in perfect coordination. The Voidborn, perhaps sensing something was wrong, began to pull back, but it was too late. The attack began, with focused fire on selected targets. 6 Voidborn ships were hit hard at exactly the same moment. 3 exploded immediately. The others were damaged but still functioning. However, the effect on the rest of the Voidborn fleet was dramatic. Their perfect formation fell apart as ships moved in random directions, some even firing at empty space. "It's working," Zara exclaimed, her skin glowing with excitement. Press the attack, the Empress commanded. Don't give them time to recover. The fleet moved forward, targeting the confused void-born ships. More explosions lit up space as the strange black vessels were destroyed one after another. Finally, the remaining void-born ships turned and fled, disappearing into the darkness of space faster than seemed possible. The bridge of the Celestial Dominion erupted in cheers. Novalian officers embraced each other, their skin showing bright patterns of joy and triumph. The Empress remained calm, but even her skin glowed with satisfaction. We've won, Zara said to Abigail. For now, Abigail replied. They'll be back, won't they? Zara's happiness faded a little. Yes, the Voidborn always return, but now we know how to fight them better thanks to you. Thanks to us, Abigail corrected her. It was our technology together that saved the fleet, and our strategy together that won the battle. The Empress approached them, the room quieted immediately. Lieutenant Foster, you have proven yourself a worthy ally today. My daughter was right to trust you. Thank you, Your Highness, Abigail said, feeling a bit overwhelmed by the attention. The peace treaty between our peoples now seems more important than ever, the Empress continued. The Voidborn are a threat to all life. We must stand united against them. She looked at Zara and Abigail. The marriage will proceed as planned, but not just as a political necessity. Today has shown that when human and Novalian work together, we are stronger than either alone. Zara's skin showed a mix of emotions, surprise, thoughtfulness, and something harder to read. She looked at Abigail with all four eyes. I would not be opposed to this union. Not anymore. Abigail felt her face grow warm. Was the alien princess saying she actually wanted to marry her now? I'm honored, she managed to say. A communication came in from Earth. Admiral Blake's face appeared on the screen. Empress Lyria, the Voidborn fleet has left the system. Our deep space sensors show them jumping to faster-than-light travel. They will gather reinforcements, the Empress replied. We must prepare for their return. Agreed, Blake said. I propose a joint defense council with representatives from both our species. A wise suggestion. My daughter will represent the Novalian Empire, along with our top military commanders. Blake nodded. And Lieutenant Foster will be part of Earth's delegation, given her understanding of the Voidborn tactics. After the call ended, the Empress turned to Zara and Abigail. You will both have important roles to play in the days ahead. The future of our peoples may depend on your ability to work together. She left them alone on a quiet part of the bridge. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Zara broke the silence. When I first heard about this marriage, I was furious, she admitted. I shouted at my mother asking why I was being forced to marry a human. And I thought it was crazy to marry an alien princess, Abigail replied with a small smile. What do you think now? Zara asked, her skin showing curious patterns. Abigail considered the question. The princess was still alien, still very different, from humans in many ways, but she was also brave, intelligent, and capable of change. In the short time they had known each other, they had accomplished something remarkable together. I think, Abigail said slowly, that maybe it's not such a crazy idea after all. Zara's skin glowed with soft blue and gold patterns, colors of hope in Novalian culture. She held out her seven-fingered hand in a very human gesture. Then perhaps we should start again. Hello, I am Princess Zara Kavex of the Novalian Empire. Abigail took the offered hand. It felt cool and smooth, but not unpleasant. Lieutenant Abigail Foster, Earth Defense Force, it's a pleasure to meet you, Princess. Please call me Zara, and I'm Abigail, or Abby to my friends. They stood together by the window, looking out at the stars. The battle was over, but a new challenge was just beginning. Learning to understand each other, to bridge the gap between their different worlds. It wouldn't be easy. There would be misunderstandings and disagreements, cultural differences and biological ones. But as they watched their ships moving together in space, human and Novalian vessels side by side, they both felt something that hadn't been there before. A connection. a possibility, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of something more than just a political alliance. 2 weeks later, the wedding preparations were in full swing. Both Earth and the Novalian Empire were buzzing with excitement and curiosity. No human had ever married a Novalian before, especially not a princess. Abigail stood in her quarters on the diplomatic station looking at her reflection in the mirror. She wore a special uniform designed for the ceremony, a blend of human military tradition and Novalian royal style. The blue of Earth's forces was mixed with the pearly white and gold of the Novalian royal family. A knock at the door made her turn. Admiral Blake entered, smiling approvingly. "You look ready?" she said. "I'm not sure anyone can be ready for something like this," Abigail replied honestly. "Having second thoughts?" Abigail shook her head. "No, it's just so much has changed so quickly. A month ago, I was just a tactical officer. Now I'm about to marry an alien princess and help lead a joint defense against space monsters from another